money doesn't buy you happiness. Money, you don't need money to be happy or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But meanwhile, we're in Section 8 housing, struggling every day. Like, we have to go to the food bank. Like, you could hardly take care of your 6 kids. So you're coming to me and telling me, like, if someone dropped $10,000 on your doorstep right now, you wouldn't be happy? Welcome to the House of Queen podcast, where queens reign and stories shine. All right. So today we're going to ask one simple question, and this has been a debate.
It's controversial, I think.
I think it's been a debate forever, but the question that we're going to ask, and we want you guys to ponder yourselves, is does money buy you happiness?
Whew. Yes, ma'am.
Does money buy you happiness? Now, I'm one of the people that would say yes. And reason being is I came from a childhood that was very, very poor. And compared to where I'm at now, where I have money, I'm self-sufficient, I can do what I want, I have the freedom to do what I want when I want, I would say yes. I came from literally the dumps. From Southeast Washington, D.C. If any of you guys know where that is, you will know it is like a third world country. It's really bad, especially from when I was a kid back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It was hell. So fast forward to where I'm at today, where I'm 28 years old, and I've gotten a little bit of taste of what it's like to have money. There's nothing anyone can do. You cannot pay me enough to go back to the hood. You just can't. So my answer is yes. Sammy, can money buy you happiness?
I think so. Going off of your childhood, I feel like as I grew up with, first generation immigrant parents, my parents were always stressing about bills. They never really bought things for themselves. So I feel like as I get older and when I get a taste of my own money, it's kind of nice to have my freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom is important.
Yeah, and then you get to spend it on what you like and not having to survive. More of like living.
Yeah, like feeling like you're in a constant state of survival.
That's literally what I grew up around. So that environment is like I don't like that. I don't want to be in that.
And piggybacking off of what you said about freedom, I think stress goes along with freedom because most people are extremely stressed out about their bills. And we all know that if they had extra money in their pocket, that stress would go away because you're taking away the one thing that they're stressing about the most.
Right.
So I think stress directly correlates with freedom because when you have the money, you have the freedom to take a month off of work if you want to. You have the freedom to take a vacation, to buy yourself a nice car, a nice house, whatever you want.
Right. Yeah. And most importantly, like for me, I'm a strong D personality for those who do not know what that means because a lot of people don't, but it means that like you like to be head of charge. Like you like to be
in control.
HBIC, control. Control is the number one thing. And when you have money, there is no doubt that you have more control. Most of the time, not only just on yourself, but unfortunately, to be quite frank, you have more control of others too if you wanted to. If that's your type of personality. So you just have more control.
Money is power.
Money is power at the end of the day. But if you ask the people, y'all, that are in Palestine right now, that are in Israel. Right?
Yeah, so I was actually doing some research on that last night, and not even just about the research, but if you're putting yourself in their shoes, they wouldn't agree that money buys them happiness. They are in the mode of survival right now, and they just want to be with their families. They just hope that none of their loved ones get hurt or killed. As long as they have each other, they don't care if their house gets demolished or if there's other things going on around them. So if you're asking not just the Palestinians, but anyone who's ever been through war, I think that they would all say no. They just want safety. They just want their loved ones around them.
Right. I don't care. Like you can offer them $1 million right now.
But if they don't have
those who have lost their families, and I can almost guarantee if you go to them and say, "Hey, take $20 million or bring back your son," you know what they're going to say. They're going to choose their family that they've lost in the war. So it's definitely circumstance based.
Definitely.
And I feel that, like, again, based off my experience, Sammy's experience, like, because we came from rags, like, I think naturally our mindset is, Absolutely. Absolutely, money can buy you happiness. But if you ask, for an example, if you ask Robin Williams, rest in peace, you're the GOAT, right? Yeah. This man was wealthy. He had everything he had everything. Like, he probably had the nice house, the nice cars, the friends, right? But this man was still depressed. Like, he still was super sad, super depressed, and probably felt like he didn't have a lot. But if you, on the flip side, if you ask, what's that lady's name?
Cristiano Ronaldo's girlfriend.
Boom.
Georgina Rodriguez. I'm sure like everyone's heard of who she is, but they met. She was working at a luxury retail store, Gucci. She was just a regular worker, probably trying to make ends meet. And she met one of the richest men out there, one of the best soccer players in the world. And now she's living her best life. And I mean, I've watched a documentary on Netflix. I recommend, if anyone else is interested, watch it as well. But she's up there, and now she's doing her own thing because she's made a name for herself.
Right.
By being by his side. Now everybody recognizes her as her own person. Right. And, she's absolutely thriving. So there's two very different people on the spectrum.
Right.
And they would both have very different answers.
Right.
Yeah. So
Dina, did you agree as to whether or not you think?
I did. I agree that money buys happiness. Okay.
Yeah. And why, though? Why do you think? Did you say?
Why are you looking at me like that?
Did she say it was? I think she said freedom.
Yeah,
freedom and getting rid of the stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna my parents definitely I'm first generation American as well, and my parents never really showed my sister and I their struggle. We've always grown up having everything we could have wanted, which I really appreciate and respect them for. But even then, I'm still able to recognize when the stress was there, trying to make ends meet and trying to pay the bills. Right. Really. It's the stress. And my dad always talks about freedom.
Right.
Which is why I've grown up believing that they both go hand in hand.
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like in America especially,
America's number one.
Yeah, we're it's super expensive to live here, especially today under the current administration. It's very expensive to live here. So I find it very hard to believe as an American, if you live here, let's take Palestine and Israel out of it for a second. If you live here as an American, and most people who are making six figures, I'm talking over $100,000 a year, are still struggling.
Inflation. Hello. When you go grocery shopping, that's way more nowadays.
Right. Anyone who would make the argument here as an American and to say that money cannot buy them happiness.
I think America's the problem.
They're lying.
They're lying.
They are lying.
Is that what I said?
Or they probably just haven't had a taste of it yet. Or maybe it's just it's your upbringing too. Because I remember my mom used to tell me money doesn't buy you happiness. Money, you don't need money to be happy or whatever. And I'm okay, that's fine. But meanwhile, we're in Section 8 housing, struggling every day. We have to go to the food bank. You could hardly take care of your 6 kids. So you're coming to me and telling me if someone dropped $10,000 on your doorstep right now, you wouldn't be happy?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be angry.
That's baloney.
I would not be angry.
I would not be angry.
That's baloney to me.
But you know what's even crazier is that $10,000 isn't a lot nowadays.
It's not.
Right. It's literally nothing.
No, it evaporates.
It definitely evaporates. But
in thin air these days.
It's just, again, what you said, inflation. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So I will make the argument, yes, I truly believe that money can buy you happiness. All three of us agree.
Yes.
It's personal preference.
It's definitely, and it's definitely
money
circumstance.
can't buy self-confidence or self-esteem or
money can definitely buy you self-confidence.
Think so?
What? Have you seen?
Sammy! Are you serious?
Let me give you an example as to how
Botox and stuff?
Botox.
Oh yeah,
boob jobs,
that's true.
Clothes.
Physically.
A man who was 5'9" went to a surgeon, paid $30,000 to get a knee replacement so he can be 6'1".
Oh, I think I saw that.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's crazy.
Oh my God, that's literally wild.
He feels like the finest man alive now.
But here's the thing. You look good, you feel good. So I do think that physical presence goes along 100%. With your inner confidence.
Yeah.
So yes, money can buy you confidence.
100%.
I was just thinking mentally.
The only thing I would agree
that
with,
would be like a mental challenge for someone to be like, okay, I have it.
Yeah.
But then they'd be like,
do they just not know what to do with it? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
then
physically they have it, but maybe not mentally in their head. They feel like they don't have it.
yeah. Well, that's a
mental battle.
That's a mental battle,
Yeah.
and I would certainly agree that money probably can't help you buy good mental health. Like if you're just depressed, again, going back to Robin Williams,
right,
who had it all.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of those cases. It's not just Robin Williams. Like there's been a lot of people who have all the money in the world but are still depressed. They're still missing that inner peace, or maybe even people around them. Yeah, there's a void.
Yeah.
But you would think, like, with all that money, can't you just buy and go to a psychologist? I know I
don't believe in that.
You got health insurance. You don't believe in psychologists?
I don't. This is a whole nother topic, but I don't believe in
let's talk about that because I don't. You don't believe in therapy?
A therapist. No, because let me tell you why. I guess I know that talking about your feelings is like a good thing, but I just find it absurd paying somebody to sit there and tell them about my feelings, and they I, personally speaking though, because I already know what needs to be done and what I need to do.
But not everyone has that luxury.
Right, right. So I'm saying it's personal preference. That's why I said I don't believe in it, because I think it's wild for me to go and pay somebody to sit there and tell them exactly how I feel, and then they give me X, Y, and Z, right? But like I already know X, Y, and Z. So it's just a matter of me taking myself out of that mental space and getting up there. You know what I mean?
That's the thing though. Not everyone knows how to do that. Not everyone's Dina Yusufi, y'all. Okay? Not everyone knows how to do that. So I think like that's a good resource. But again, maybe Robin Williams felt that way. Maybe, I can't remember the lead singer of Linkin Park, but I'm sure many people know the band Linkin Park. And same thing, he was super depressed and he had it all.
And what's that one dude we were talking about? The food connoisseur. Anthony Bourdain, something like that.
But his issue was with his woman. His woman was doing some, like, when I looked into him, like, I think his woman was the major cause of that. Like, but like, get a new girl.
You're traveling the world eating all these amazing foods.
You can go to France and find you a new woman. But again, like, for me, like I said, I think it's definitely case by case.
Yeah, it is.
But like mental health, that is one that I think is most debatable, especially in America. Yeah, especially in America, because
I think we have the worst mental health rates.
Yeah,
is that true?
I've never looked it up, but just based off of what I know and what I've seen, I want to say that, but don't quote me on it.
Well, I mean, we probably do, because think about it. We're the richest country in the world. One of them. And we have so many depressed people. So many people who feel lost. So many people who feel like they don't have the support. And we're like supposed to be like the top dogs, right? So like, yeah, I would probably, I wouldn't doubt that statistic that you just made about like us being the country with the worst mental health, because like we
diagnosed by Dina.
Yeah, imagine supposing to like have it all.
Right.
And then you don't.
And you don't. Like you're, like I said, like you're in my situation as a kid, like you're still like living in Section 8 housing, having to go to food pantries and all that stuff. So like, yeah, I mean, anyone would be depressed in that instance, knowing like this is the land of the free, but
where's the free?
Where's the free?
Where's the freedom?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would not doubt that point at all.
Yeah, no, that's the American dream, y'all.
Yeah.
The American dream is welcome. The American dream is now to get out of America.
I almost considered moving to Switzerland. They're just
very expensive.
They're just as expensive. Switzerland is very expensive to live in Switzerland, but they mind their business.
They do.
I heard that they are actually one of the happiest countries for that alone.
They are.
Same with Poland. They have all the money, but they don't have all of that mental issues that Americans have. Again, same with Poland. Poland, like they don't tolerate
Italy as well.
BS. Italy is one of them.
Italy is one of them. I mean, Kosovo, Albania, those two countries as well. I mean, you've heard me talk about my parents wanting to move back home. It's a very simple life. It's very easy. You don't feel, like when you wake up in the morning and you're late to work, or like you have so much on your plate, you don't feel that over there. And you don't need to make a lot of money to live well enough to support yourself and to be happy. Right. That's the one thing that I've heard a lot of people talk about, not just all over Europe, really. You hear Europeans talking about it all the time. Yeah. I don't know if you guys see TikTok videos about a bunch of people relocating to even Mexico.
Oh, have you seen those?
I've seen, see, that's the thing about America. I've actually seen on TikTok multiple times, like anytime I log in, there's always usually someone young too. I haven't seen a lot of older people leave America to go to a different country. It's always the
younger ones.
It's always like the millennials. And it's so funny because the millennials are getting the shorter end of the stick to begin with. Like, we can't buy a house these days because everything's super expensive. And like, we just can't do the things our parents or our grandparents did. So ask any millennial, does money buy you happiness? I will almost guarantee
they'll all say yes.
97% of us
all say yes.
We will say yes, because we literally have the shortest end of the stick right now in America. So what we're finding is very young people leaving America, going to a different country and staying put. Like, no one wants to come back here. And it's all over TikTok.
I don't blame them. I literally don't blame them.
It's all over TikTok. If I didn't have kids, I'll be out. Gone.
Yeah.
Would not be here because for the same reasons they're leaving. Like, imagine moving to Spain, beautiful Spain,
and it's beautiful. Like,
you can easily live off property, like free healthcare,
colleges,
ask how many millennials have healthcare.
Yeah, no,
probably none.
I don't.
A very
one of those right here. I do not.
We just don't have it. Like, it's so everything is so expensive. So like,
maybe because America's very like hustle culture, you know what I mean?
But like, again, going back to Switzerland is hustle culture.
Oh, really?
They are hustlers. Okay. They are hustlers. And like, probably more so than Americans, to be frank. Like, because I have a friend who lives in Switzerland and I talk to her often. I met her on Twitter like 10 years ago. But they hustle hard, they work hard, they make their money, and they go home. They don't have to worry about war. They don't have to worry about
it's a very peaceful country.
It's a very peaceful place. Like I said, they mind their business.
And it's one of the most beautiful countries I've ever seen in my life.
It's stunning. And you can learn like 3 languages just from living there, because they make you learn like 3 languages. Like German, French,
Dutch. Yeah.
Yep.
Are we moving?
Pack your bags, ladies.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm too comfortable.
I think the goal, the American dream now, is to make enough money to get out of here and go live a happy life somewhere else.
But you want to know something? You don't need a lot of money to move out of here.
No, you really don't. You really don't. I think that's also just personal preference. But like,
especially in this remote work environment.
Yeah.
Like, you can probably, I know a lot of people, again, on TikTok who have stated that they decided to, like, because they work remote, they just go to a different country, keep their jobs, and they live peacefully. Like, so you don't even need a lot of money to leave the U.S.
That's
you can just go to,
You don't. It's cheap.
Hella cheap.
It also just depends on how you want to live. If your main priority is just like freedom and being stress-free and happiness, yeah, you don't need a lot of money. But you can also, I feel like, especially for Kosovo, you can live off of like $100,000 for a really, really long time.
Wow. Dina told me actually that you can build a fat ass mansion,
a huge house,
for like under like $100K. Is that right?
No, it would like, I want to compare it to like $1 million mansion here, or like between $1 to $5 million maybe. You could build it for like less than half of that.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on size. Like, my grandparents built their house back home for like $150K, and it's massive. It's like 3,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Marble everywhere. Like super modern. It's gorgeous. Yeah. And they have a lot nicer material, I feel like, over there for a lot cheaper, because those materials here, like, we see all the nice houses here, and
everything's like, super inflated.
Everything's super inflated.
Because I mean, there's so many things that go into that. I mean, you have the cost of labor and all of that stuff, the administrative with permitting and all that stuff. But like, even with Ghana, dude.
Oh yeah,
you can get a fat mansion in Ghana, and Ghana is still like an developing country. I don't like to say third world country, because I mean, if you go to downtown Portland, you can consider that third world country. Let's be frank here. That's I mean most major West Coast cities, you can consider that a third world country. So I like to say developing countries, but like most of the developing countries in Africa, for an example, you can get I'm talking like 8,000 square foot house, 5 beds, 5 baths. And again, it'll cost like $300,000.
Wow. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. We saw actually yesterday, my dad and I were watching, there's this broker that I like to follow from back home, and they listed a hotel and restaurant with like a condo on top for $162,000. Wow. And it's massive. It sits on like maybe 3 acres. Yeah. Huge parking lot, nice garden. and it's literally a hotel.
Yeah.
A hotel with a restaurant and a condo.
And a condo on top.
It's $162,000 or euros, but it's very close.
Right.
Very close to the same price in
Right.
dollars. And
Right.
it's just like, where would you find that here?
You
Never.
wouldn't.
You would not at all.
You wouldn't.
Point
And
blank.
that's the thing. Like it's incredibly depressing, like just the cost of living here in America. And you have no choice but to make no money to feel something, to feel like you're accomplishing something, just because it's so crazy expensive to live here. But we want to hear your thoughts. Like, do you all think in your position, speaking for yourself, let's not talk about anyone else.
Right.
Yes.
Can money buy you happiness? Leave it in the comments below and we'll see you at the top.